All right, welcome back to Campbell Racing. This will be the fourth and final video of the How Do I series. Today we're going to be going over how I practice. I do this same process for league races and officials. Hopefully you find it useful, and as always, if you have improvements, then let me know in the comments. First, we do have a couple of disclaimers. This assumes that you know the track. This is not a how to learn a track video. This is for a track that you're familiar with. It might have just been a while since you've run it. You know, it changed seasons and there may have been some updates, or maybe it's just in a different car or something like that. So, yeah, if you don't know how to run the track, this video is not for you. Also, we will be using two telemetry tools. Both are free, and I am not affiliated or sponsored by either in any capacity. The first is going to be Stin Analyzer, and the second is going to be Motech. Now, I'm not going to lie, Motech is very complicated. It will take you some time to learn it. This is not a Motech tutorial. There are plenty of those on YouTube, and so please do not flood the comments with how do I do this or that in Motech. Instead, take that comment, go directly to Google, and type that comment into Google, and you will find a much better answer than what I could provide you with. But anyway, having said that, let's get on to the practice processes. So I have 6 steps that I go through, and I'll go through those first, and then we're going to do like a live practice where I actually run through them. But I don't want people to have to sit here and watch an entire video just for me to list out 6 steps. The first of that I don't personally do, so it would be 7 if you do this, but it would be reviewing Garage 61 data. Now, if this is the first video in the series that you've seen, you may not have heard of Garage 61, but if you go back and look at the qualifying video, I use Garage 61 extensively for how to qualify. I do not find it as useful for long run analysis, which is more what this practice session is going to be. Having to go and find their lap 20 of the run and your lap 20 of the run and stuff like that, I just find it a little bit more cumbersome than the process that I have here. And so I personally do not use Garage 61 for this, but if you liked it from the qualifying video and you want to continue using that, then you could just as easily use Garage 61 as opposed to the tools that I use here. So the first thing that I do is I go and I run 5 to 10 shakedown laps. This is just getting out on track. We're not doing qualifying laps. We're not, checking up for tire wear or anything like that. This is to make sure that your force feedback is set correctly, your brake bias is set correctly. You just kind of got a good feel for it. Nothing's going to really surprise us. Things of that nature. I will go and do a simulated start. I'll simulate a start from the inside row and or inside line and make sure that it's not going to get loose on the bottom or anything like that. Then I'll go and I'll restart from the outside and just pretend like there's a car on my inside as well. So I'll do that in 10 minutes max. It's nothing major here. Just make sure that nothing's going to surprise us there. Then after that, we're going to do 2 long runs. A lot of times you'll hear people talk about doing their 30s and, hey, how was your 30? What they're talking about there are 30-lap runs. If you're limited on time, then I would suggest just doing a 30-lap run because you need to get 2 runs in, right? So if you're limited on time, you can stop at 30 laps, and it's still going to give you a really good idea for long run pace. But if you have the time, I would highly suggest to do a full fuel run for these, and I'll get into that more when we're doing the analysis from the live session. But anyway, so first what we're going to do is we're going to do a full fuel run as hard as you can at race pace. So we're not qualifying. We are simulating a race environment, but we're going as hard as we can here. And the reason for this is how you're going to drive the car if there is a green, white, checker restart, or, there's a caution, you come in with 10 laps to go or with 20 to go or something like that. This is how you're going to drive, and you're trying to get every single bit out of the car as you can. You're just digging the entire time. Now, what's going to end up happening is you're going to burn your tires up, right? And so for the long run, it's going to suck. It's going to drive bad. We know that, but that's we want to find out where that kind of switch happens, right? So that's why we're doing this one first, is we're just going to go out and we're going to dig for an entire fuel run and see what we can get. Once we finish, we're going to get out of the car, and then we're going to go and look at Motech. So we've finished our first run. We're going to look at Motech, and we're going to look specifically at the tire heat in Motech for the right front and the right rear. And we're going to see where we're burning off most of the front usually. And so this is not going to take very long, but instead of just getting out of the car and looking at the end, oh, I burnt my right front up, it was X degrees. Motech will let you see where you're burning it up and exactly how much. And so that's why I really like that. This is not going to take, 2 minutes to do. So after that, we're going to hop back in the car, and we're still in the same session, and we're going to do another long run. It's going to be a full fuel run, but we're going to be conscious of the right front or the right rear if you're getting loose, but typically it's the right front. So we're going to be conscious of that, and we're going to have the knowledge of where we were burning up the right front, and we're going to try to save tires over the course of the entire fuel run. And so we're going to do a long run where we're trying to take care of that. So at the end of that, we're going to get out, and we're going to look at Stin Analyzer again, and we're going to be able to see lap by lap how much time difference there was. So typically what ends up happening is the going all out is much faster early on, right? And then there comes a certain point, I'm just picking numbers out here, but say we do 50 laps. The going all out will be faster for the first 30 laps or so. After about lap 20, the saving tires will be faster lap by lap, but you haven't actually caught the other one until you get to about lap 30. And then the last 20 laps of the run is just the long run, running away with it, right? But what that information gives you is, okay, well, if there's a caution that comes out with 30 to go, I can definitely, just dig the whole time. And you've already practiced how to drive that. But if caution comes out and there's 35 to go, okay, well, then I need to save a little bit of tire here, And so that's the purpose of doing it all this way. And then when we get done with all that, we will look at Motech once again, look at the tire wear from the long run as well, and see if there's any benefit to maybe saving some more, doing something a different way, something like that. And we won't go do another run after that, but it'll just be knowledge that we can take moving forward to be like, okay, well, I did this and it helped here, but it didn't really help there. Maybe I need to change something else up as well. So anyway, that will be the process that we go and use. And so we are going to go and hop out on track. So I'm just going to go to the schedule and go to Charlotte. I'm just going to use realistic weather here, whatever, because we're going to do everything in the same session, so we don't have to compare session to session. So it doesn't really matter what we have. So anyway, while this loads up, we will skip that, and I'll see you when we're out on track. All right, so we are on track, and before I forget, you're going to want to do a couple of things here. So first, you're going to want to go into your Documents iRacing Telemetry folder and just clear out everything in here. I've got 3, making sure that Motech was up and running, but you're probably going to have a lot of files in here, and if you're not doing any telemetry analysis with them, you're not going to need them. And then the first time you load up Motech and Mu, the application that actually converts it to the data that Motech needs, it's just going to take forever because it's going to convert a lot of telemetry that you're never going to look at. So just go in here and clean this folder out before you start. Secondly is for Stin Analyzer that I have here. You're going to want to go to Overlays and Show Race Overlay. And then let me hop in the car real quick. And so let me unlock this. So pull this over. So this is what I have on my left screen during the races and all that. And if you're only doing a 30 lap run, what you're going to be paying attention to is the green number here, the laps this stint. You're going to want that to match up, right? You don't want to like do a 29 lap run and then you're not going to get a 30 lap average from it. So just make sure that this is the same. You don't really have to worry about this or have this up if you're going to do a full fuel run every time, but that is just something to note if you do plan on doing that. And then I'll just lock that back. That's off up to my second screen, and there we go. So all right, first up is the shakedown laps. And so what I'm going to do here, since I do simulate starts coming out of here, I do not just haul ass out of the pits. I'm just pretty much kind of come around and do pace. I think it's, what, 65? No, 55. So just going to pace around here, and then I'm going to do a restart on an inside and then a restart on an outside. So this is very useful. Just did a league race. It was Xfinity cars at Kentucky, and by doing this I realized that going into turn 3 on the first lap, if you really sent it in there, it was getting super tight and you were going to wash up and hit the car on the outside of you. Conversely, we did next gen at Auto Club, and going into one on the bottom line, it was just so loose you couldn't drive it. And so getting all that out of the way ahead of time is just really useful, so that you can anticipate what's going on. I think a lot of people have issues. It's so hard to react to stuff. You have to be able to anticipate it. So here we are. I'm gonna go going in the box. Didn't experience any slippage there. So what I'm looking for is what gear am I going to be in here. So I'm going to be shifting pretty much right in there. If you're back further in the pack, then you're going to be shifting a little bit earlier there. Absolutely no looseness or tightness there or anything like that. A little bit tight there over driving, so if they're pinching me down, there's going to be an issue. No looseness there.
32.4.
Okay. So it was perfectly stable. Didn't really have to worry about anything there. Let's go ahead, reset, and try it on the outside line. I suspect it's going to be fine here as well, but it doesn't take that long to check it, and every now and then you'll get surprised with something. So most of the time you're just going to end up being like, well, I just wasted 5 minutes. But it's for the times that you do find something, that's when it's like, oh, okay, I've really found something now. So I'm just not going super fast, trying to keep the tires pretty cool here. You also get to see what gear to start in as well, right? So I was just rolling up and I was in second, and I was like, oh man, that seems really, really low. So let's let you practice that as well. So we slipped a little bit there, so that's something to take note of. We're fine through there. Actually a little bit looser up here. Nothing major, but still something to keep in the back of our mind. So, all right, that'll be it for me for shakedown laps. You can run a couple more if you're wanting to get set for it, but I think I'm good. And so with that, we will reset and start our long runs. All right, so we're going to start our long runs now, and so I'm going to do an entire fuel run with this. Looks like it's going to be around 50 laps or so. Not going to have you guys hang around for all of that, but you can see the start here. Now with this one, I do go hard out of the pits. This is assuming we just did a green flag stop, and I'm trying to get all that I can out of pit road here. So I noticed when I was gassing it up to leave my box, I slipped a little bit, so that's just something we will remember moving forward. And so from here out, I am just basically hauling. I'm going to dig as much as I can. See, I got tight right there. So that's something to keep in mind. And from here, yeah, we're just going to do an entire fuel run of driving it as hard as we can. So no tire saving at all. So with that, I will bring you guys back in when we finish the run and look and see what we can gather from the data. All right, so we've got about 3-4 laps of fuel left, and we're ending our first run here. And observations, it's gotten super tight. It was about lap 12 or 13. It started getting tight, and it's just continued to get tighter from there. So I've been fighting that the whole run. And so what we're going to do, here it got super tight again. But what we're going to do is we're going to practice our pit stop and come in, and then we're going to hop out of the car and look at the Motech data.
31.493.
So I'm just trying to wrap the bottom here as best I can, but because I'm so tight and I've been trying to get all I can get, I just overdrive it.
Keep an eye on that pit road, my man. You know, might be coming soon.
I'm just going to go until it tells me to pit that lap.
31.491.
We were also able to go farther than I thought. We're currently on lap 61.
Pit this time, pit this time.
Okay, so we're going to look at the tires real quick. Then we're actually going to hop all the way out of the car. It helps Stint Analyzer if you hop all the way out of the car.
Now. 5 away. At your mark now. Turn in, come on. Leave by me.
45.82. Told you we were tight. So, yeah, let's go and look at that in Motech. You're going to hop out of the car.
Go, 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 go! Good road speed all.
Motech, pause that. And so here is Motech. So I'm going to bring up the last run that I did. It was 62 laps. I'm going to add that. And here we go. So I know this is very complicated to look at, but what we're going to be focusing on is right here. This is the right front temperature, and this is the right rear temp. Over here are all of your laps. You can select multiple ones. So the one that we have selected right now and the one that we're viewing is lap 3. So you can see that as it's highlighted in the red, and also up here. So you can change individual laps that you want to see by doing just clicking here, and you can see multiple laps at once if you click here. So looks like lap 4 is going to be the white lines, and lap 5 is going to be the green lines. But one thing about this with the tire temperature that we're looking at, VRS will show you this as well. However, it is locked behind their $10 a month paywall, and you can only see one lap at a time. So not only can we look at multiple laps this way, but I'm going to show you a thing where you can view the entire run all at once, and that's what I find most useful. So you can go find you a good workbook and do this, or you can create this yourself. But again, this is kind of complicated to set up. So if you can find a good workbook, I would suggest doing that. And then you can just do stuff like this. So right now, that's the left, middle, and right side, all of the right front. a lot of builders will use this for camber and stuff like that to test that stuff. But I don't really care about the left or the right, so I'm just going to hide that and just simplify it and just looking at the middle temps. So the middle temp, it doesn't tell you a whole lot. So right here, you can look at, this is the minimum. So if you hover over, it'll show you where the minimum was. Anything over here is going to be the maximum of that point. And then this is going to be your average. So our minimum of the middle, which was the yellow line here, was 126. The maximum was 209, and we averaged 166 for the lap. And if you'll notice here on the same lap, our right rear was actually just a little bit cooler, right? So we averaged 166 and 152. So that's only for lap 3. So you say, well, how is that useful over an entire run? Oh, and here is our tire pressure and pressure difference. So we may look at that as well. But you can take it from the top here, and so just drag. And so the green window is going to show everything. And I'm wanting to look at the entire run. So I drag this all the way out. And where this is useful is you see it kind of goes up, but then it levels out about right here. And so yeah, you'll have individual spikes, and that's laps where I messed up, and so we're going to go and look at that as well. But once that curve kind of stops, so you see like right here, you're pretty good. That's lap what, 22, 23. So if you're wanting to test this kind of stuff in the future, you don't have to run an entire run like to see if it's going to be as bad as whatever my tire wear was at the end. You could just run like 20 laps and see the difference because it's already leveled out on the front and the rear. And yeah, so you can see from here the rear pressure. This is odd. So it lap 20, 21, 22. It got let's see. It was lap 22 was where the rear pressure was the hottest, and then it actually cooled off a little bit over the rest of the run. That's interesting. So anyway, so that's how you look at the whole run, and then you say, okay, well, where was my maximum of this? So it was on lap 46. You double click, it'll take you to lap 46. We can find it up here. Click it, and so this was my maximum. Now another thing to note, if we go back in here and we look at the garage and we look at the temperatures, these temperatures are going to be based off of when you did your pit entry. And so these can get really, really hot, but it's not real data just because it's the outside of the tire. And if you slide coming into your box or something like that, then this can actually give you some false readings. So not Stin analyzer. So I like to use this instead. And so what this is showing is lap 46, our highest temp was 268, and it was on 3 and 4. It says turn 2, but this is 1 and 2. This is the backstretch, and then this is 3 and 4. And another thing that you can see, so if we go out, most of my spikes, well, it was earlier, were in 3 and 4 earlier, but here it looks like, so that's in turn 1, turn 1, turn 1, turn 1. So most of the time that I'm looking at here, see here I messed up 3, I messed up 3. Here I messed up both of them. So you can kind of look just over the run and see if one turn is always more than the other one, then that's where you're going to get the most benefit from saving tires. Looks like this is pretty even. But anyway, so let's look at lap 45 and 47. So you can see here we're at 255, here we're at 267, and here we're at 246. So what happened on lap 46 in 3 and 4 that our right front was so much hotter than the rest of it? And so we just go back in session and we're going to look. So laps, I did some laps and messed up. So you can't just go to lap 46 here. So what we're going to do is lap 46 here, we got a 31.360. So it's 397.360. 360. It's going to be, what, that one? No. Let me pull this up to my other screen so I can see them at the same time. $31,360. Okay, so it's right here. So let's go and look at lap 3 and 4 to see what I did differently. So actually, let's go back to lap 58. That's 1 and 2. Let's see what we do here. So I'll lift it at the line here, or a little bit before it. So I'm already braking when I come into here. Keep trail braking. Ran a little bit high. Was able to cut down to the bottom. Okay. Let's see what we do here. So I drove it a little bit deeper, it looks like. I'm running higher, just a hair. I was just a little bit lower earlier. And I never really made it to the bottom. So in the last one, I overdrove entry, but I was still able to make it down to the line, and here I didn't. So just running that little bit higher and missing the line caused this much of a temperature differential. So 255 to 267. So really missing that bottom was huge there. And so let's go and look a couple of times. We're just looking for massive outliers here. So here's one. So lap 52. We'll go click here. 52. And this is when we ran a 31.542. Was it after a 2.9? Yeah. So let's see what happens here. So same thing. See how I slide up and I'm above the seam and I never make it to the bottom? So I guarantee you, so we get up to 267 there. We're at 251 on the lap before. So I guarantee you, let's go back a lap. And I'm going to hit the bottom here. Yep, see, I'm on the line. So what that tells us is to make sure that we hit the bottom in 3 and 4. So do not overdrive. Make sure you hit the bottom. That is going to cool your tires off just that much more. And every little bit helps. So that is our entire run here. And we can look at that. Now, I guarantee you, if we went to all these, it's going to be the exact same thing. I was surprised. I thought it was way tighter in 3 and 4 than 1 and 2. But if you look, like, it's usually pretty even unless I just massively overblow the corner. If we look at 34, looks like... so let's go there. Lap 34. I get really hot in 1 and 2. That is 31.026. 31.026. I guarantee you I missed the bottom here. Guaranteed. No, I made it there. Just had a little bit more wheel into it, it looks like. Yeah, cranking that wheel just that little extra bit. And then, yep, that wheel is what's going to get it there. So it's probably just overdrove entry just a little bit. So taking all of that knowledge, what we're going to do, and here is the stint analyzer for it, by the way. So this is the one where I messed up. I ended up hitting the wall. So we're just going to remove that stint. So this is what we have for this entire stint right now. And you can actually view your tire wear as well. So you go click tires, and it'll save all this information for you. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to go right back out. We're going to do another full fuel run, and this time I'm going to be focused on saving tires and trying to go for a long run. So let's get out on track and do that. Let's move that back over there. Again, it's just like we stopped. We're going to be coming out trying to go as hard as we can here on pit exit. Making sure we don't slide up. Remember, we got tight on the last one going into 3. So just going to make sure that we don't overdrive here and make sure we wrap the bottom. Much better there. And yeah, we're going to have an entire run here where we're trying to save tires. And all that's going to be doing, so I'm just going to be lifting earlier. I'm lifting at the top of the hill there, making sure I get all the way to the bottom. And I could be full throttling there, but I'm not. And here, I'm just going to be lifting earlier in 3 and 4. I was driving in way past the line there. So I'm just going to be lifting earlier, making sure I hit the bottom, not full throttling until a little bit later on in the run. So we're going to be slower at the start, and we know that, but that's okay. So I think it'll come back to us. But there's only one way to find out. So I'm going to keep running this out, and I'll pick you guys up after the end of the run. All right, so we just got the 5 to go warning for coming to pit road. This run has been much better. Haven't experienced the tightness at all. Been able to hit the bottom pretty much every time. I have made a couple of mistakes, but for the most part, it's been a much more comfortable drive. And since I'm not tight, I'm able to take that higher line right there and then kind of cut down here at the end. So, of course, I overdrive because I'm recording and talking about it now, but
31.1.
See if we can hit it this time. But yeah, so much better drive. Tires are going to be much better. You might notice that it's a little bit darker. I am in the same session, but I forgot to turn off the time. And so if you want to compare true apples to apples, go and set a static weather, so that way it doesn't continue to run time. So the track is a little bit cooler right now, but not a whole lot.
31.229. Going to pin in 2.
And so we do need to account for that, but it's not going to make that big of a difference, I don't think. And yeah, so last time I had a pretty slow pit entry, so we're going to try to be a little more aggressive on this one. But bonus tip, I have it set up. I'm going to take just a little bit of fuel, like 3 gallons or so, and we're going to put on right side tires and come out and test just to see if it's a green white checker, if that might benefit us at all. So we'll be pitting here.
Pit this time, pit this time.
So more aggressive than last time. Yep, much better pit stop. So I was just too easy with it last time. So we're going our 46.
Here we come, guys.
I'm going to come in, take a little bit of fuel and 2 tires, and then simulate a restart with it, because you're not going to do that at a green flag.
So right behind this sign. Stop on your mark.
Tires were 81.89, so a lot better. Still room to improve, obviously, but a lot better than it was.
Go!
All right. That was super loose, but again, we will not be coming out of our box that aggressively, because this will only be during a green white checker or caution with 5 to go or something like that. So you can test as much of this as you want. I took less fuel. One, there's no sense in taking 2 tires if you're going to fuel all the way up, because you're not going to gain the track position. But 2, taking rights only is going to really loosen the car up, and I don't want to loosen it up that much. And so I'm leaving less fuel in it so that will counteract it and tighten it up. So we're going to go with a simulated start here. We got really good track position, so we're on the inside. We're controlling the restart here. It was really loose, so we're going to need to roll into it more next time.
13.13.
Don't want to spin the tires. We're just pushing here. If we wreck, we wreck. We've gotten all the other data that we need to go look at. I got that little bit tight, but that's fine. Okay, we're coming to the white here.
32.232.
Felt fine through there. And we felt fine through there. So
29.746.
Have to go look. That's my fast lap. That was actually the fastest lap I run. So so yeah, I would definitely say that 2 tires is an option for a green-white checker. So that was just a little bit of added practice that we got in there, because sometimes it's like this and you run your fastest lap, and then sometimes you wreck going into one because it's so loose. So definitely something to note. So, all right, so let's hop out of the track, or hop out of the car rather, and let's go ahead and bring up Motech real quick. And we're going to add in the last run. Why is it not there yet? It was doing this. It was being weird earlier, and it didn't do it. So may not be able to look at Motech of this run, but maybe if I get back in the car, it'll do it. Let's hop out. Yep, here it goes. So just needed to get that extra bit in. So it said 68 laps. That's why we get out of it for Stint Analyzer and Motech as well. When we hop all the way out of the car, it knows that the stint is done. It tries to figure out the stint for like when you pit, and so it should have done one stint, and then we pit, and then we come out and it does another. Sometimes it messes up, and so that's why you definitely want to get out of the car when you finish your real stint. And so yeah, it's definitely got our fast lap in there, but we're just going to go back a couple of laps here, and we'll just look at lap 57, and that's 50, or we'll go to 60, and this is lap 60 of that run. So you can go up here, and lap 60 of the previous run is going to be in white, and look at that. So the yellow is our second run, and our tires were 204 is the hottest we got on lap 60 of our second run, and we were at 255 during the first run, and so yeah, that's just pretty significant there, right? And so yeah, so we'll turn that off, and we'll just look overall. We'll go to 62 since I think that was what the run was. So you've got that. Still, you have the right rear that's trailing off there. Then if you go here, it's showing different laps, so wouldn't pay like a whole lot of attention to that. But just look overall, right? So the yellow line, which is our second run, is so much lower temperature every single lap than our first run, and see the pressure goes off right here. It goes, a couple of PSI higher, and so much better on the tires that entire run. Does that translate to speed? That's what we're going to find out now. So minimize that. We're going to bring up Stint Analyzer, and bring it over. So we're going to get rid of this because we don't care about that stint. That was our last one there at the end. Remove stint. All right, so here's what we have. And as we suspected, right, the first stint, this is us going as hard as we could. And this was us saving tires. I did save a little bit too much here, the 30.43. I realized I was just going way too slow. So it actually goes down here because I started driving a little bit harder, but still not near as hard as I was driving before. And so as you can see, we're a lot slower here. But as you scroll to the right, oh, what do we have here? So our 35 lap average was, you know, still faster going that way. But at 40 laps, all of a sudden, we're faster. And so from 40 to 60, we're a lot faster. And so it gets even better than this as far as comparison is concerned. So select these, click A, B, and what you have here is our stint on the left. This is our first stint. This is where we were going as fast as we could. The stint on the right is where we were saving tires. So the difference, this is per lap, right? So you can see I did a 29.9 and then I did a 30.3. So it's a difference of almost 4/10, and then, you know, almost 7/10. So that's when I realized I was going way too slow, and then I sort of picked it up here. But yeah, so if it has a negative, that's comparing the second stint to the first stint, and then this just adds it up overall. And so quick things to note here is what I'm looking at is, okay, when does it start flipping, and when do I get more black than I get red, right? That looks like about here, and that is lap 19 of the stint. So if you go 19, 20 laps into the stint and you are saving tires, you're going to start going faster. And when you start going faster, look, you start going faster. 3 or 3.5, 2.5, 2.5, 3.5. Once it flips, man, does it flip. And right here, we were going slower, but just barely. So, I mean, you could even look at it and say, you know, per lap, it kind of evens out right here, right? I was going slower, and then after lap 12, it kind of evens out, and then here's where it really goes big. If you'll remember earlier in this video, I said lap 12 is about where I started getting tight, 12 or 13, and that's what it shows here. So right about the time it starts slowing down. However, even though we're running faster laps, we're still behind, right? We don't have that track position, and that's what total difference is showing. So we were 3 seconds behind on track. You know, that track position, we didn't have it. So how long does it take us to actually catch? And we know it's about 35-40, right? That's where it said that it was in there, but it looks like right here. So lap 36, that is where it's faster. And I mean, just look at these lap time differences, right? You know, I kind of messed up a couple times trying some different stuff out. But once it flips, it flips. And then we're going faster the entire time during the run for the rest of that. So if you look and say, okay, at lap 30, 35, 30, 36, that's where it's flipped. I'd argue it would probably be even a couple of laps earlier because I was going so slow and I gave up way too much time up here. Like these couple laps, I just went too slow on the second one. So I need to pick it up a little bit there. But look at this. So from lap 36, where we're even, right? We've just passed them. We've caught them. We've just passed them, and we're going faster. From 36 all the way to 62, we'll go 60 because this is including pit stop. You can see I had a more aggressive pit stop here too. So that goes to show you that. But from 35 to 60, we were 6.8 seconds faster on track. So if you're doing pretty good early on, and then you're like, man, these guys just have longer than speed I don't have. Stint Analyzer is a fantastic way to go out and do some runs and test and see where that's going to happen. Motech will tell you kind of where you're messing up and what you need to adjust in order to get faster. But then you come into Stint Analyzer and it shows exactly when that flip is and how much of a difference it makes. So gathering from this, what I would take is if we have a caution and we're going to come in and it's going to be over 35 laps, 40, 45 laps, something like that, I'm definitely going to be saving tires. And if there's less than 35 to go, then buckle up, Buttercup, because we're digging, right? And even though they're saving tires, it's not going to matter in the end. And then with the bonus there at the end, because we took 2 tires, then we ran our fastest lap, I think by a significant margin too. So that's something to just keep in mind. So yeah, let me look over the notes, make sure I didn't miss anything there. So with our run here, it went and did it. So I can look here. So do this, go to tires, so maintain the tires. So we were 81, 89. So I was still a little bit off, but the car felt fine. Honestly, I wouldn't change anything. But what you can do then is, if you're still not where you want to be here, then go back into Motech, look, see where you're messing up, you're getting hotter than you want to get, and adjust if needed. And so yeah, that would be the end of my practice session. I would feel really confident going into the race. I know how to restart. I know exactly when it's going to flip. So if I am running hard, about 12, 13 laps in, I'm expecting it to get tight. So if there's somebody pinching me down, I need to be careful there. It's going to continue to get tighter through the run, but I can maintain until about lap 30 or so. And yeah, I know when it's going to flip. I know how much it's going to flip, right? When it did, I was running significantly faster, and that's without draft. So you got to consider that as well. I know what the fuel run is, and I know to take 2 tires for a green, white checker. So feel pretty good about that practice session, and that process has worked for me for about a year now, year and a half, something like that. This is how I've been practicing for every league and official that I do. And so hopefully you found it useful. If you did, I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe. If you have any additional comments, think you can improve on it, something like that. If I did something wrong, let me know. And yeah, that'll do it from here. Thanks for watching.